In this video, I will run through some basics in breeding your Bettas. Firstly, you would need to get a pair, so differentiating between the males and females would be the first challenge. In the long fin varieties, it is much simpler with the males having significantly longer fins than the female counterpart. We typically look at the anal and ventral fins as well as the body shape. Males will have anal and ventral fins that are longer and have a much more slender body. Females will have shorter fins and a rounder body near the abdomen. For the short fin varieties, it is less obvious, but the same rules do apply. The males would have comparatively shorter anal and ventral fins and a more slender body, whereas the females would have shorter fins and a rounder body. Such differences can be seen in this orange pair. Once you have gotten the differences down, the next decision to make is which male and female to use. This choice should be based off of their body and fins, shape and color. The usual recommendation is to use a male and female of the same tail type to prevent mismatching fins in the fry. Deciding on color is very much up to personal preference and what you would like to achieve in the fry. The easiest options would be choosing solid colors or dragon types of the same color, and you would have a good idea of what the fry would look like. Using fancy strains would produce more variety in the fry, but the presence of the marble gene would make it quite complex to determine the exact coloration. Once the pair has been selected, then begins the conditioning process. Typically, you would condition the pair for 1 to 2 weeks, increasing the feeding to 2 to 3 times a day with high-protein foods such as frozen bloodworms, live blackworms, or frozen brine shrimp. Increasing the frequency of water changes together with the increased feedings would ensure water quality remained pristine. You would start to see the female get visibly rounder around the abdomen as she gains more egg deposits. Vertical breeding stripes would also occur in color strains that show them more prominently. During this time, usually you would have the male already in the breeding tank and the female separated in a jar within the tank so they can see each other but not get to each other just yet. This gets them used to each other, and by the end of the conditioning period, the males should already have a bubble nest built. Once all is ready, the male and female would be showing interest in each other. The female is released into the breeding tank and the courtship rituals should begin. We would leave them be for roughly 3 days to do their thing, and if there are no eggs in the nest, we would restart the conditioning process and try again. They would not be fed during this time, hence the importance of the conditioning process. Try not to disturb them too much while they are in the breeding tank. Check the nest once a day for eggs and remove the female if the eggs have been laid. The eggs take roughly 3 days to hatch, then another 3 days for the fry to become fully free swimming. During this time, the male will be caring for them in his nest, picking up any eggs or fry that drop to the bottom of the tank. Once the fry are free swimming, the male can be removed and we would start feeding the fry. The fry should be fed with newly hatched brine shrimp until they are large enough to accept frozen or pelleted foods. With water changes, it is recommended that the water changes be done frequently once the fry are larger and less fragile to increase the rate in which they grow. Frequent feedings also help in this. Over the course of a few weeks and months, you will start to see your fry grow and develop. The jarring process then begins around the 2 to 3 month mark and grooming begins.